Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. And folks, the community is turning to emulation. They're walking away. And this is really based on some of the feedback that I got recently on a video that I put out. Basically saying that resellers were running out of people to sell to because, in essence, most people either have built their collection to where they want it to be, or people are just really upset about the current prices of video games. And I read a lot of the comments on that video, and that seemed to be the common thread. A lot of people were just saying these prices are way too crazy. There's no way that I'm going to pay what people are asking for some of these retro games. And overall, I think people still are not used to what the prices for retro games have become. Now, here's the thing. I've also seen comments where people say, well, you don't have to buy the expensive games. There's plenty of fun, cheap games out there that you can buy, which is true. But that's like telling a person, and I'm just going to liken it to sneakers, right? Like if you're a big fan of Air Jordan 1s, right? Like you want the Air Jordan 1s, but the Air Jordan 1s, they cost $300. And those are the ones you really want. And you're like, man, I'm upset because I can't get the sneakers that I want. But then someone comes up to you and they say, well, it's not that you can't get any sneakers. You could get a pair of Air Force Ones. Well, you're going to look at that person like they're stupid, because you're going to be like, well, you know what? Yes, I know I can get Air Force Ones, but I want the Air Jordan ones. I like the way they look. I like the way they feel. I like the way I feel when I wear them. And that might be a reach of an analogy, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like when you really want Mario Kart, right? And you want to buy it, but you don't want to spend $80 for it. And someone says, "Well, look, you don't have to buy Mario Kart. You could buy like Diddy Kong Racing." You're gonna get upset with that person. You're gonna be like, "Look, I don't want Diddy Kong Racing. I want the experience that I get from playing Mario Kart Double Dash." And I think this is where the frustration comes in, because it's not that collectors don't want these games. They want the games, they just don't want the prices. And while, yes, there are plenty of games that you can buy for cheaper, those are not always the games that people want. Or sometimes people already have those games in their collection and they still want to get the game that's expensive. This is what I think is happening. And it's funny because just because prices are expensive, it doesn't mean that people aren't still playing these games. In fact, there was another comment that I got on my channel where someone says, does Gen Alpha even care about retro games? Well, it's funny because as soon as that person put that comment there, I caught a video that someone released, I want to say either this past week or this past month, and I can't remember the name of the person. If I can remember their name, I'll put it in the description below. But this person basically talked about 5 Dreamcast games that you must play. And in that list, I think they had like Cannon Spike, they had Soul Calibur. I think they had like a few Dreamcast games, right? And they were talking about these games in great detail. They had obviously played the games, but in the video, the person said that they've never owned a Dreamcast in their life. They've never owned any of the games in their life, and they had purely experienced those games through emulation. And the person in the video, they sounded kind of young, like perhaps they may not have been around or old enough to remember a Sega Dreamcast. Because you got to remember, folks, a person who was born in 2000 is 25 years old this year at some point, right? So you could be 25 years old and have been born in the year 2000. And I know for some of you, that makes you feel really old. And I know it makes you feel old, and that's okay. That's okay. But you got to remember, that's the year the Dreamcast came out, right? And so even if you were born in 2000, right, odds are you weren't even old enough to understand what a Dreamcast was. You had to have been at least 10 to 12 to really fully comprehend and appreciate a Dreamcast, which meant you wouldn't have really understood what it was until 2012. And by then, people were on the PlayStation 3 at that point? People had moved well past maybe even the PlayStation. Wait, where am I at? 2012? Am I right? Yeah, 2012. Right. So people would have been way past the Dreamcast by that point. And so I say all that to say that, does Gen Alpha care about this retro stuff? Yeah, they do. They're emulating it all the time. This is how they're able to make videos, and this is how a 22-year-old can recommend to a 40-year-old why they should play these 5 Sega Genesis games, because there is definitely still some interest in these games. It's just that the prices are still astronomical for some people. And I try not to talk about it a lot, because every time I do, every time I mention this on my channel, you get some pundit, some political analyst who comes on my channel ranting and raving about politics, and then people come at me and say, "Oh, you're a gamer. This channel's for gaming. Leave the politics to the politicians." Listen, I can talk about whatever the hell I want in this channel, right? And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The economy is rough. The economy is tough. And this is not me fear mongering or spreading propaganda. It's the reality. Look, just because you're blessed enough to be able to go out and buy video games doesn't mean that everyone else is. And there's a lot of people who can barely afford these damn eggs that are now $12 a carton. So times are really tough for some people. For some people, not everybody. I say that the retro gaming community is some of the blessed individuals that we have in America, because you folks are complaining about how much it costs to buy your copy of Darkwing Duck, while someone else is complaining about how much it costs to buy a bag of bread. So honestly, high prices on video games is the epitome of first world problems, all right? But at the end of the day, the fact that people are struggling is making it very difficult, I think, for people to really get into the retro gaming hobby and buy these games physically. It's just too much money. It's just, it's really setting people back. And I want to know down in the comments, how easy has it been for you to purchase retro games? And I'm not talking about the people who have always been upset about retro game prices. I'm talking to the people who maybe you are buying retro games in 2020, 2021, 2022. Have you slowed down at all now in 2025? Have the prices finally started to get to you? Because I don't think they've gotten higher. I think, in fact, on average, most retro game prices are going down. I think they were at their height in 2021 and 2022. That's when they were at their peak, most of these games. A lot of them are coming down in price now. So let me know down in the comments. Are you tapped out? Have you officially been tapped out of the retro gaming market? Are the prices just too insane for you? Let me know. I mean, look, this is really what my March has been so far, right? My March has been these 6 games right here, and one of them was free, right? I didn't even pay for this guy. The Skies of Arcadia Legends was partially a trade, partial cash, partial trade. These were 2 GameStop pickups. This was a game I forgot I even ordered, Jet Cave Adventure. I'm pretty sure I ordered that last year or 2 years ago. And then you have Mario All-Stars and Super Mario. So, I've got these games here. But this has been a rather slow March for me. Last year, this time in March, I was, really like going in on retro games. But I think for me, it's a combination of me already having a lot of the games that I've always wanted. I already have most of those games. And B, just, the avenues to buy these games are dwindling, So that's what it is for me. Also, to some degree, yeah, I don't think I want to spend as much money as I was before on retro games. I don't think I do. I'm not, and I don't even know if it's that I don't want to spend the money. It's just that I don't think that there are games out there worth me spending the money on, which again could be a sign that I've finally gotten all the games that I want, which is a good thing. That's the point that you want to get to in your collection. When you start to realize, I have everything that I want. I really don't know if there's anything else I want. When your buying starts to slow down and you're not picking up as much stuff, that's a sign, or that at least that should be a sign that you've curated your collection to the place that you want it at, and there isn't more out there for you to buy. I think being in a never-ending cycle of just buying, that's definitely not healthy. It's not healthy for your mentals. It's not healthy for your wallet, for sure. And so I think that's where some people might be at too. Who knows? Let me know down in the comments what you think. I'm a little wired. I just got back from the gym. So, I'm a little wired. I'm going to go make a cup of tea, calm myself down, settle down now. But I'm interested to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. It's the Y2K Collector. Hopefully the week started off decent for you. Hopefully you're having a decent week. Is today Monday? I think today's Monday, right? I'm expecting some packages to come in. So I'm really excited about that. They're not video game related, surprisingly enough. But it will answer a question that someone left on one of my videos. So I got some surprises this week. I'll let you guys know what they are. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.